I'll do. The 999. I wrote 6/8, but it's actually written in 3/4. Probably with Shomu. No,
That's
later.
one I added.
Oh, you're doing it?
I added that, and we don't do it right for the Amitabha. We do that with this part couple.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I'm not leading Vishamra.
I'm doing it.
Great.
So that's the one. It's like the third section. Third one.
Oh, you did this one. Oh, great. Oh, wait a minute. Did I print this before you made the changes? I think you had made the changes.
Test. Okay, I'm in.
Check.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Ooh.
Oh, this is not plugged in. Hold on.
Okay,
Check. Just.
so we're about to start Shabbat so we can press play on the rest of our lives. Let it all unfold. Welcome.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
Ay, 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 da, da, ay, ay, da, ay, 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 ay,
Learn the tune. We're going to hum it a few times. Then by the time you get it, we'll add the words. You can find those on page 24. These words are welcoming this expansive time, this beautiful Shabbat.
Shalom, ay, 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 with the word Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Vimelech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kadosh Baruch Hu.
Tomorrow morning, we singing more of this? Tomorrow morning at 10:30, Samuel Decker will be called to the Torah for the first time as a bar mitzvah. And in honor of this auspicious occasion, I'd like to invite the Decker family to the Bima now and usher in Shabbat for us with the reading on page 3. So you can stand here, all of you, in front of the candles. And offer the reading on page 3 and then light the candles. Can you see if we get more slack? English.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Go ahead and light the candles. Okay. Stay. Just give that a moment. They're finicky. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel shama.
Amen.
And Sam will lead us in the Kiddush on page 5. Let me get you that mic. This one's longer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahavah uvratzon hinkilanu zikaron l'maseh v'reishit Kahu Yom Tehillah Lamekrai Kodesh Zeher Letziat Mitzrayim Kivanu Vaharta Ve'otanu Kidashta Mikol Ha'amim V'Shabbat Kodshecha Ve'ava Uvratzon
Hinkaltanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Take a sip. Yasher koach. Just a prelude tomorrow morning at 10:30. Okay? Go sit down. And we're a small enough group tonight that we can all introduce ourselves to one another, wish Mazel Tov to the Decker family, let everybody know your name. Maybe even share a piece of the week that you would like to leave behind. We do that? Get up, say hello, wish each other Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Stephen, really nice to meet you. Son, so nice to meet you. Welcome. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Molly. Oh, right. You were here last. It was hard tonight. Shabbat Shalom. So glad you're here. Hey, Kyle. Good to see you. Hi. Hi, Shimshon. Hey, yes. Shabbat Shalom. So in true TGIF style, thank God it's Friday, thank God it's Shabbos. Let's continue On page 12, L'chuneranana.
L'chuneranana,
Page 12.
l'chuneranana, l'chuneranana, l'Adonai. L'chuneranana, 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 l'Adonai. Naria, naria, l'tzor yishenu nikadma, fanav bitoda. Naria, naria, l'tzor yishenu bismirot, naria lo.
To the beginning.
L'chuneranana, 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 l'Adonai. L'chuneranana, 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 l'Adonai.
44. That's 44. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei, Mekadeshei Shavi Shabbat. Kulam yisbehu vayitangu metuvecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Ve'hashvihi ratzita bo v'kiddeshto Shabbat. Chemdan yamim otokarata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher L'maseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher L'maseh v'reishit Shabbat. Rejoice!
Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei,
Shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat. Breathe it in, blow out the week. Call it a delight. V'korei oneg Shabbat. Page 20, L'chadodi. The anticipation builds. We greet the bride. Page 20.
This melody, if you don't know it, is from Uganda. L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikavela. L'chadodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikavela. Shamor v'zachor b'ribor echad השמיעונו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Fifth stanza, 21.
Number 5. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומאורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Last verse, please rise.
If you're able, and face your anticipation, the door.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגול. בואי חלה, בואי חלה.
Top of 20.
לך דודי, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. אוי 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 אוי
Please remain standing, face the ark, the Baruch on page 28.
Baruch Adonai, המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך
לעולם ועד.
Nai, nai, yai, nai, nai, yai, nai, 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 yai, nai, nai, nai. Please let's turn together to page 30. Let's reflect on the setting of the sun and the closing of the day and the beginning of a new one. Let's read together in the English on page 30 before we sing it. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness, darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name, ever-living God. May you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Top of the page.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro mariv aravim, mariv aravim, bechokhma poteach shefarim, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם, ברקיע כצאנו.
Amen. 32. Everlasting love. Eternal love.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, מחבת
You've loved us forever.
תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת.
How else to love but to teach?
על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו
May we always keep learning. May you always keep teaching.
נשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך
And mitzvot forever.
לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
34.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר נוחי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Let's all read together on the English on page 37. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you're tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They're reminders to do all of my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And all this we hold to be true, trustworthy for us, that you alone are Adonai, and we are Israel. We're your peeps. Moses, Miriam, all of us, all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously as we do now, because we know we are in this grand experiment called life, called Shabbos, called Yiddishkeit, together. Page 40.
Page 40. Faster.
מי כמוך מדהים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, איי 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 נה 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 נה
מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים זה אלי אנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד איי 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 אדוני ונאמר כי פדעתי את יעקב ולא מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Shemo.
קהל ישראל
Amen. 42. Grant, O God, we lie down in peace. Rise us up, our guardian to life, life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Ushmot Seitenu Ovoenu
L'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad
olam.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu
shomreinu l'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Invite us to rise. Turn to page 46. Settle into a conversation with the one who knows our heart, the one who knows us deeply, our Creator. B'Amidah. 46.
Adonai sifata tiftach ufi yagid hilatecha.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei
Leah, Ha'el hagdol hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon.
גומל חסדים טובים, בני הכל, זוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם, בעזרת שרה.
50.
גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, אומר נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו בשני עפר, מלחמה בעל גבורות ומדומך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה.
Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh.
Ameti. 52. Ata kadosh, v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom, ya'alelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. invite you to finish your prayer privately, either with the words of your heart or the text between pages 54 and 60, and we'll meet back on page 62. Feel free to be seated as soon as you've said what you need. ברכתו מכל הימים וקדשתו מכל הזמנים, וכן כתוב בתורתך ויבולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה. וישבות ביום השביעי מקום מלאכתו אשר עשה. וברך אלוהים את יום השביעי וקדש אותו כי בו שבת נקרא מלאכתו אשר עשה לעשות. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמונתנו ונשא מנוחתנו, קדשנו במצוותיך ותן אלוקינו בתורתך, זמנו בטובה ותורתך ליבנו ועובדך. מודיעים אנחנו לך שאתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ונביאנו. אסור חיינו וגנשינו את העבוד דור ודור. נודה לך מצפת תפילתך על חיינו וסבלנו גם ניסך שבת גם נאמר נבואתו בדרך וחזרתו. על כולם מתברך. ברוך אתה אדוני הטוב שלנו. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם.
If you're still praying, please continue at your own pace. We are at the bottom of page 62. Ose shalom imroma, Ose shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel.
Whenever we gather together, we always take the energy from our collective presence to send out prayers for healing. Healing of body, healing of spirit, psyche, self, relationship. So we're going to turn to page 253, the middle of the page, the Mishaberach Lecholim. And as is our custom, we'll call out the names of the people we're holding in our hearts between the stanzas.
May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say,
Amen. Today we're especially praying for Howard Simon, Gloria Berkowitz, Gittel Bat Chana, Beryl Ben Sima Veshmuel Leib, Steve Gellis, Sholem Ovram Ben Golda Yeshayahu, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah Yitzchak, Maxwell Zwain, Menachem Mendel Ben Yehudit Michael, Luke Wright, Chendel Chaya Rafaela Bat Yehudit Sharon, Dolores Mikkel, Harav Eliyahu Ben Miriam Va'avraham, James Janelle and Bill Edgar, Eliatario, Vivian Chong, Wendy Chong, Devorah Bat David Vachaya, Lou Boriello, Harav Yafa Rachel Bat Bela Chana Moshe Yitzchak, Kedem Veshoshana Veruvain, John Spiegel, Yisrael Hirsch Ben Gedalia Verivka Hinda, Maxwell Bayer, Shmuel Ben Leah, Yakubovina Bat Shlema Verivka, Bob Schwartz, and Bob Kahn. And to these names, we add
Simarisa Batina.
Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah.
They know healing swiftly, uneventfully, and bless those also who care for them. So I'm very excited because Cantor Jeff is going to tell us a story tonight. Maybe? Well, he's got something special for us tonight. So I'm just very grateful and delighted.
First of all, right here I have something that I'm going to use tomorrow, which is my part of the Torah reading that Sam is going to do. So I'm still practicing. Sam, I know, has mastered everything. I'm still working on mine. There is a song that I dearly love, and it's from a fantastic rabbi and songwriter named Shir Yaakov Feit, who I bet you know. You probably know.
I've known him since he was 16.
Yeah, she babysat him, probably. But.
He babysat my kids.
So I love that Misha Berach that the late Debbie Friedman wrote. And I have to say, she is a legend throughout the Jewish world. And I actually got to share the stage with her once. And I can tell you that in addition to being incredibly talented as a songwriter and a performer, she was one of the nicest people you could ever, ever, ever meet. And her loss is very much mourned. I love her music. However, every once in a while, for what we just did for the Misha Berach, it's nice maybe to do something else. And this is a great song that I want to teach you. I don't know, Rabbi, if you'll ever want to do it again, but you never know.
I'll take one. Thank you. Want me to pass them around? This is beautiful.
So the traditional Misha Berach prayer, and I think that the late Debbie refers to this also, is not only for those who are feeling ill, unwell, broken in body, but also for those who are maybe feeling broken in spirit. Unfortunately, we all go through times like that. There's no avoiding it. Sorry, kids. This is from Psalm 147, and it's some of the most beautiful words in Hebrew poetry. And it's got a fantastic chorus, which you will learn in about -5 seconds, okay? Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. If you look at where it says a big letter B, those are the words right there, okay? So let's sing that together. And then I will sing the rest of it. You can follow along if you'd like or not. I always say, I repeat this too much, my wife says, but I always say, if you know it, sing loudly.
And if you don't,
If you don't know it, sing even louder.
I say, if you don't, fake it.
Well, fake it, or fake it really loudly. Don't be yeah. Okay, let's try that chorus. Just jump right in. Hallelujah. 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 Harafelish vorelev Umchabesh latzvotan Onem ispah lakochavim Lechulam shemot yikra. Together. Alleluia. Alleluia. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Now in English. Healer of the broken-hearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know who we are. Hallelujah. 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 Yeah. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh. It's so him too. Like, you know, Debbie's melodies are Debbie. His melodies are him, and he's just amazing. How much more time should I take?
Whatever you got.
I've got till midway through.
Tuesday?
Yeah, well, midway through tomorrow's service. No, I'll do like 5 more minutes, something
Sure.
like that. Okay, I have some things to read to you. I think you'll appreciate this.
Hey, you know Cantor Jeff? One of the most delicious things about singing a piece of text is that we don't whiz by the words. We just don't whiz by the words. And something about what we just read, you know, this idea that, you know, we may be one out of a billion stars, but we have this feeling, this trust, this emunah, that on some level we're still seen.
I agree. And I also think it's interesting, it's not just where there are a lot of stars, but they're uncountable, meaning there's always going to be mystery. I mean, probably will. I'm no astronomer, but I think there will always be mystery. And actually, now that you've opened it up, does anyone have anything they want to say? You don't have to. Okay. The other subject for tonight is immigration. This has obviously been in the news, and for good reason. And so, how many of you, there were a couple of plays based on it. How many of you have heard of a collection of letters called a Bintel Brief? Yes. Well, you're a rabbi. You're supposed to know this stuff. So a Bintel Brief. So I'm a Yiddish speaker and a Yiddishist, among other things. And the foreword is an English paper now. That's one of the major Jewish papers in the United States and the world. It's all online now, pretty much. But it started in Yiddish, and there still is a Yiddish edition. Imagine you have come from a very difficult situation. You have moved to this strange, confusing, very tumultuous world, and you have to figure out how to make it. Sounds familiar, actually. Something to think about. And I should say I'm particularly sensitive to this because I am myself a child of a refugee, as many of us are, or immigrants or refugees. So this Bintel Brief, most of the letters are from the early part of the 20th century. They were letters to the editor of the big Yiddish newspaper called the Vorwärts, now called the Forward. And two things were going on. One thing was these were folks who had come to a strange land and were trying to deal with pretty difficult situations. They had usually come from difficult situations. And it so happens that the Forward was a socialist newspaper, and most of the people that read the Forward had left religion, or at least traditional religion, behind. So who would they have asked in the shtetl, in the small towns they came from? They would have asked the rabbi. But they didn't have a rabbi to ask if they weren't. I mean, if Rabbi Morit had been there, they would have asked her, for sure, and she would have given them very good advice. So this was sort of a substitute for the rabbi. Some of these are funny. I'll just read a couple of them. Some of them are poignant. But these are letters that were written to the editors sincerely asking for advice. Okay. 1908. Dear editor, I ask you to give me some advice in my situation. I am a young man of 25, 16 years in America, and I recently met a fine girl. She has a flaw, however, that keeps me from marrying her. The fault is that she has a dimple in her chin. And it is said that people who have this lose their first husband or wife. At first I laughed at the idea, but later it began to bother me. I began to observe people with dimpled chins and found out that their first husbands or wives really had died prematurely. I got so interested in this that whenever I see someone with this defect, I ask about it immediately. Sounds like a fun guy. And I find out that some of the men have lost their first wives, and some of the women's first husbands are dead. This upsets me so that I don't know what to do. I can't leave my sweetheart. I love her very much, but I'm afraid to marry her lest I die because of the dimple. I've questioned many people. Some say it's true. Others laugh at the idea. Perhaps you too will laugh at me for being such a fool and believing such nonsense, but I cannot rest until I hear your opinion about it. I want to add that my sweetheart knows nothing about this. Respectfully, the unhappy fool. The editor of the foreword writes back. The tragedy is not that the girl has a dimple in her chin, but that some people have a screw loose in their heads. One would need the knowledge of a genius to explain how a dimple in the chin could drive a husband or wife to the grave. Does the angel of death sit hiding in the dimple? It seems to us that it is a beauty spot, and we never imagined it could house the devil. It's tragic humor, this is 1908, to find such superstition in the world today. It's truly shameful that a young man who was brought up in America should ask such questions, as opposed to superstitious in Europe, right? To calm him, we wish to tell him we know many people with such dimples who have not lost their first husbands or wives, but live out the years together in great happiness. Kenoha. Okay. Let's do one more. Okay, this one's funny also. Let's do something a little more poignant. Okay. Oh, this is great. Okay, I think this is great. This is a lot later, and then I'll end with this. I do urge you, whatever your ethnic background is, most of us, unless we're Native American, come from some kind of immigration or exile or refugee status or something. So just my own soapbox, but I think the more we think about where we come from, perhaps the more compassion and help we are able to offer to people who are now in the same situation. Okay, this is much later. First one was 1908. This is 1956. So probably the people who are reading and writing Yiddish at this point were pretty elderly. Dear friend editor, that's socialist right there, by the way, that he calls him friend editor. I was sitting with a group of old friends who were speaking nostalgically about the good old days, and I interrupted with the question, were the old days really that good? In connection with the discussion we had, we would like to hear your opinion. I think that when older people long for the old days and say it was better then, it's only because they were young and still had their whole lives before them. But the truth is that those times were not so good. I still remember my hometown in Russia, our simple little house, lighted at night by a small kerosene lamp, the door thatched with straw nailed down with sackcloth to keep it warm in the winter. I still remember the mud in the streets of the town, so deep it was difficult to get around. Our fear of the Gentiles, and who can forget the poverty, the times when there wasn't even a crust of bread. When we came to New York, I thought we were entering heaven. But here in the new land, in those old days, we lived on the east side in tenements and had to climb to the 4th and 5th floors, to tiny rooms that were dark and airless. There were no bathrooms in the flats. A huge bathtub stood in the kitchen near the old iron stove that was heated with coal, in which mothers also did the laundry. In those good old days, we worked in the shops 14 and 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, and the bosses treated the workers like slaves. Summertime in the great heat, we couldn't breathe in the house at night, and we slept on the roofs or on the sidewalks. When I think of the modern conveniences we live with now, 1956, of the wonderful inventions, achievements in various fields that we enjoy, and about the opportunities for everyone in this blessed country, I see there's nothing to be nostalgic about. I say we now have the good times, and we do not have to long for the past. Not all my friends agree with me, and it will be interesting for us to hear what you have to say about it. With great respect, K.S. Answer. Your conclusion is correct. The little town with its mud, the poor hut with the kerosene lamp, the bitter life in Tsarist Russia, and the old-time sweatshops here contrast dramatically with today's comfortable life in our country, for some people anyway. It's like the difference between day and night. But it is natural for the older immigrant to see the past in beautiful colors. The older immigrant's longing is actually not for that time, but for their childhood, their youth, and when they were happy with very little. The Bintel Brief, I recommend it. There are also, as I said, some productions. Ben, have you done any of these? The Bintel Brief productions on Broadway or off Broadway? Good. Any thoughts? Do any of you have stories from your immigrant past, or not maybe recent or not so recent?
Ben, you got one?
The dimple? Oh, you mean if they had Facebook back then? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's interesting. One thing I noticed in this is when you talk, I've talked to a lot of immigrants and survivors, and when they talk about the old country, the shtetl, the little towns where they came from, they always mention the mud.
The mud.
The mud. The
I
mud.
got-
Blota.
I got a story. So before I was the rabbi here, one of my many jobs is I was a chaplain. I used to visit the homebound elderly, and they were often Holocaust survivors, and they were all in their 80s, 90s, or more. And one of my favorites, he was just this delightful man, and with this very, very colorful past. He was born in the old country. He was in his 90s, so he lived through World War II, and he would tell me the stories of when he was in concentration camps and people trying to get him out or smuggling him this, that, and the other. And then after that, he went to Israel, and he was actually one of the first people who were fighting for independence. And then he said, forget Israel, it was too backwards. He wanted to come to America. And he started asking me about where my family came from. And I said, well, you know, on my grandmother's side, my grandmother's side, she came from Glogov, little town in Poland, and his eyes lit up. And he said, that was very close to my village where I grew up. And he ran downstairs as much as he could run, and he brings out this pre-World War II map of the area. It was either Poland, Austria, Hungary, it didn't matter where it was. And he showed me how right on the map we were very close to each other, and how our ancestors, he came from where my grandmother came. And he said, where's your grandfather from? And I said, Kiev. And he said, what business were they in when they came to America? And I said, they were in plumbing supplies. And he said, nah, nobody in Glogov had plumbing.
That's really great.
It's true. And you just love that, you know? So like the my town, your town, you know, it wasn't any different 100 years ago, right? Nobody there had plumbing.
No one had plumbing. That's right. Wow.
Nachum, his name was Nachum. So that story is dedicated to Nachum.
Nothing.
Yeah. We're going to close with Elenu. You got more?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's turn to page 282 and close out with Elenu. And rise, if you're able. At the bottom. Nu l'shabeach l'adon hakol,
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל עמונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated. May all created in your image become one in friendship and one in spirit, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo We turn now to page 294 and our thoughts to those who walked this earth and held our hands but no longer do. We remember them, we honor them with the mourner's Kaddish. And this week we are in Shloshim, the first month of mourning for Jeanette Hecht and Jim Rothwell. And we're observing the yard site, the anniversary of the death of Joanne Kaminer, Selwyn Gross, my mother-in-law Miriam Kushner, Beatrice Meltzer, Maxwell Rosenzweig, and Nathan Trachtman. Is there anyone else who is either observing a yard site or who is in their year of mourning? I invite you to please stand and say their names in memory. Please remain standing. If it is your custom to rise for the mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to do so. If it is not, you're invited to remain standing. The mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yithalal shmei dekudesha brichu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Ta'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
May their memories always be a blessing. Our own Kristen Michelson for announcements, holy announcements.
Yes, and I mean, Tom's way better at this, but I'll give it a go. Number one, Borscht, 1 week from tomorrow. Our comedy night next Saturday will be amazing. Tickets are on our website, or you can buy them at the door. Cash only bar for drinks. Yes, drinks, borscht, and authentic Ukrainian pierogies. Also, please join us for Shabbat services tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. as Samuel Decker is called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Our next Tot Shabbat will take place Saturday, June 10th at 10:30 a.m. We're also celebrating Pride Month in our community by hosting a meet and greet for our LGBTQ plus members, families, allies, and friends on Thursday, June 22nd at 8 p.m., all ages. Snacks and refreshments will be served, so please register so we can have an idea of a head count. There'll probably be cake. I'll be responsible for that, yeah. The link is in the weekly and the newsletter.
Oh, and we're doing Pride Shabbat on the 30th. We've just added that. I don't know.
Oh, that's the next.
Oh, sorry.
Friday, June 30th will be Pride Shabbat. Come out and show your pride. Services begin at 6:30. Beginning June 30th, we'll be experimenting with new Shabbat service start times. We'll welcome everyone's feedback on that. On the first Friday and final Friday of each month, services will begin at 6:30. All other Friday night services will begin at 7:30 p.m. Our first Friday services will remain our most family-friendly and will continue to be coordinated with our religious school. So please mark your calendars about those changes. Feedback most welcome again, and we'll run this experiment for the next year. So come to services and double your mitzvah points by just pushing a couple of buttons. Talk to Seth Lubin over there about being part of the tech crew to ensure our services are live streamed to all at home.
Hi, Mom.
Plenty of other ways to rack up those mitzvah points by volunteering a little or a lot, or just ask Tom or Rabbi at the Oneg.
Or Kristen.
Or me, and volunteering is something a lot of kids need at schools now, so this is a great place to do it. And the food pantry. Change the world one meal at a time with 1 hour out of your week. Help feed our hungry and homeless neighbors. Thursday at our food pantry. Don't have an hour? Help feed them with a donation for the food that we buy. Details are on the website. Just show up. You'll be glad you did. You can also just order through Amazon. It's super easy, and it gets delivered when our manager, Bob Cahan, am I saying his last name correctly? Khan is here. Sorry, Bob, if you're watching. Your donations for the social hall renovations are still very much needed. If you haven't donated or pledged, please do. And also check if your employer makes matching donations to charitable causes. So, yes,
Great
those
job.
are announcements.
You are hired.
I needed another job.
Okay, right, exactly. Not enough to do, Kristen, I know. By the way, Kristen's son, Trent, is bar mitzvah 2 weeks from tomorrow, so come back. Ein Kelohenu, right? 3:22. Yum bum 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 ba da 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 dum. Yum bum 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 ba da 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 da. Yum da da dum bum bum ba ya da dum ba ya da dum bum 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 ba. Ein Kelohenu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemokenu, ya da da ya da da ya da da na 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 ya da na 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 na. Ein Kemoshienu. Elohenu, mi Adonenu, mi Kemalkenu, yada 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 mi Kemoshienu, no del Elohenu, no del Adonenu, no del Malkenu, no del Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, yada 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 Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, yada yada Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. please everybody stay. Join us in the back for a little refreshment, a little delight, a little oneg. Shabbat shalom. Such a little piece. That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Shabbat shalom. You went to school together?